There's a group of writings that all come under the heading Love and Logic, which is my philosophy of parenting. And it's basically a view that no matter what you say, your kid will look at how you deal with the world and they'll end up dealing with it like you do. And so if you're calm and predictable, you set rules, you enforce those rules in a non-emotional, very straightforward way, then their whole sense of the world is not chaotic. The world can be predictable. If they behave in certain fashions, it'll work out that way. I was not raised that way, so I decided, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. And so far, so good. I have to say, I've delegated 80% of, not delegated, but my wife does 80% of this. And she is way better parent than I am. She's not a perfect love and logic person. So every once in a while, a certain emotion will come into her tone that she just looks at me and she knows I'm like, hey, can you get rid of the emotion? So you can't totally do it. But there's some brilliant books and online courses about this. From a young age, ideally you'll have adults in your life, preferably your parents as part of that, some of your teachers, people around you who like you and they're behind you and they'll back you no matter what goes on. And that gives you enough confidence to go off on a quest. And during that quest, you try different things out. If you're lucky when you're very young, you find something you're passionate about. I did when I was 13 years old. I found computers and software. It took me another 5 years to figure out that was my life's primary work. But that's a lucky thing. Other people, get out into their 20s or even later before they find what they're passionate about. But proceeding with a certain set of self-confidence, that there are people who care for you, you care for them, that you succeed in their eyes by your how you treat them. I think that's pretty basic, and it gives you the platform on which to try out new things, to fail. At first you're not going to succeed in various things. So self-confidence is primary, and then finding your passion is an adventure, a quest that may take time, and it may switch over the time of your life. But those deep relationships will let you pursue it with vigor. I read a lot. There were always contests at the library in the summer where, if you read 10 books, you got a little gold star. If you read 20, you got like 2. And there were like 5 or 6 girls and I that would always read like 35 books, and we'd see, who could do the most. It was a broad set of things. Eventually, a fair bit of science fiction, because that intrigued me. Some biographies, understanding what different leaders had done and how they'd picked what they'd wanted to do. And so I'd say science fiction and biography were the categories that had the most impact. Yeah, among the science fiction things, Williams Rice Burroughs wrote a Martian series, and I read that. Then he also had the Tarzan books, and there's an unbelievable number of them, like 40 of them, and I eventually decided to read those as well. I didn't actually read Catcher in the Rye until I was 13, and ever since then, I've said that's my favorite book. It's very clever. It acknowledges that young people are a little confused, but it can be smart about things and see things that adults don't really see. So I've always loved it. My second favorite book is the book by John Knowles called A Separate Peace, and that's a phenomenal book. I've been reading it to my son recently. There's actually a movie made of it that's fairly good, but I'd say the book is incredibly good. That's 2 young boys growing up, one who is sort of intentionally trying to be good at things, and the other, Eugene, is just kind of naturally great at sports and has this wonderful energy, and they have this great friendship. And it happens to be at a time where the older boys are going off to war, and they're trying to figure out what does that mean to them. And the author talks about this period of his life as really defining the rest of his life, how he sees everything, is sort of in comparison to this period where he didn't really know where he fit in. He thought of himself as maybe too calculating. And the end of the book, which I won't spoil, is a bit of a tragedy with this friend of his. But it really talks a lot about what is our bargain with the world, how do we grow up, what are we worried about, and how do we take that into adulthood. It's easy not to be aware of the number of children who die and the ill health. If you're a poor child, you have 50 times more chance of dying before the age of 5 than a person in the rich world. And that's partly because you're not getting the right medicines, partly because if you live in equatorial areas, things like malaria are threatening you and not threatening the rich countries. So the idea that that's the greatest inequity in the world, jumped out at us, both from a visiting Africa and parts of Asia and a numeric point of view. Many people think that, okay, Syria is terrible. Yes, it's incredibly terrible, but a few 100,000 over several years is less than 6 million per year. Now, that's the number of children under 5 who die. When the foundation got started, it was 12 million. And, so over a period of about a decade, it's gone from 12 million a year to about a little more than 6 million a year. And we'll get it down in our lifetime to under 1 million a year. So the equity between the poor and the rich will largely be eliminated. So that one was clear. Then the question was, okay, given that we live in the United States, the framework of business, law, education, Lakeside, Harvard, that allowed the fortune to be created was here in the US. And so what do you do to give back? And there we picked education because in terms of equity or economic growth, in our view, that's the big missing piece because it's not operating very well. And if it can operate well, it has this monstrous effect. I'm in meetings a lot. My calendar gets very full with those. And then at night, after the kids have gone to bed, I'm on email a great deal. I get messages during the day. That's my chance to give long responses. And then over the weekend, I send a lot of mail as well. I take 2 weeks a year to just go off and read and think, where I'm not interrupted by work or anything else. I'm just solidly trying to think about the future, and people get to send me things to read as part of that so-called Think Week. So it's a nice mix of things. About 25% of the time that I'm out traveling around, meeting with customers, Europe, Asia, and that sort of helps me think, okay, do we have the right priorities? What are people responding well to, and what would they like to see us do better? I think success is always a bit dangerous, and you can think that whatever your success was because, you are magically gifted in understanding things. Whereas, of course, any success, particularly a gigantic success, is a huge number of factors, including hard work and understanding, but timing, other people who came to work with you, other people who might have done the same thing who somehow messed up in doing it. And so often you'll have too much confidence about what you understand. In science, as Feynman said, the easiest person to fool is yourself. And so you have to force yourself to go through, again and again and think through, is this the right thing to be doing? Will this work? Am I doing it because it would be exciting if it succeeded? Am I really looking at these factors? In fact, in polio, several times we had to say to ourselves, was it time to give up? Or really, did we think there was a prospect of being able to move forward? I think great wealth is particularly challenging when you're raising a family because, your children may be treated differently. They may have an expectation. Melinda and I have told our children from the beginning that, only a a tiny fraction of the wealth will come to them, so that they'll have to go out and have their own career and find their own way without just having it all taken care of. I hope that works. At least that's the way we've chosen to do it. So yes, it can have negatives. I think there are societies like China that are still thinking about how do they feel about great wealth? Are those people okay or not okay? And partly I think the way a society gets used to it is if there is a huge amount of philanthropy where that money's going back to those most in need. I think it's a very positive mechanism, although it should be voluntary in nature. I think without that, China may get into a very schizophrenic view towards what capitalism leads to, which is that some people end up with a lot of wealth. And so I do think philanthropy has a lot of benefits, and certainly if we can work with each other, we'll be a little less misled by the fact that people you give money to are always telling you what a brilliant thing it was to give them money. It's hard to avoid that bias effect. Yeah, if you want to have impact, usually delegation's important. Although, individual contributors in terms of inventing a drug or a new approach to things, that's phenomenal. So when Microsoft first got started, I wrote most of the code, and everybody else's code I read and kind of rewrote. And that got us up to 10 people, and then I had to say to myself, okay, we're going to ship code that I didn't edit. And that was hard for me. But I kind of got over that. Then I still said, okay, I'm going to interview everyone, and I'm going to at least look at samples of their code. Well, that got us up to about 40 people. And that was at a point where I had sold way more software than we could write because everybody was so impressed. And I thought, well, I need to collect enough money to keep hiring all these people. But the demand was so high that we were actually falling behind. That's when I hired Steve, and Steve figured out how to control what promises I made to people, and B, how to hire lots of people and really good people and create organizations and teams. So I delegated to Steve that, and he was constantly saying to me, okay, we're going to hire programmers that you've never met. And I'd say, no, we're not. And then he would show me numerically that the constraint wasn't going to work. Then I said, okay, then I would, know all the managers of the people. And so over time, and of course, I could say the quality per person was falling monotonically, according to me. But, large problems, if you want to, write the most popular office productivity software, that one person absolutely can't do that. You can write pretty code. So everyone has to decide what scale of organization they want to work in. Eventually, my role was very much as a leader and a reviewer of managers, but the top people, and I hired some super experienced people, I would make sure they were pursuing a common vision and they were well coordinated. But in terms of a lot of management stuff, they were way better than I was. Now I had to have the framework to know what mix of skills that we needed and when they were working well enough together. But a lot of my value added was picking, say, to do graphics user interface or to do an integrated office type thing, or to go global and not use agents to have Microsoft be present all over the world. And so yeah, picking what you're good at and how you find the other people to fill in those things, that's super important. And most founders aren't able to scale that up and kind of give up the hands-on things that they used to get a lot of pleasure and comfort from.